Hi Stampers, this is Holly from Rubber Redneck. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and welcome to another Christmas Cascade video tutorial. This week over on my blog, I'm having a fun event where I have a new project with a free project sheet and a video tutorial for each project. I also have some prizes I'm giving away as well. So be sure to visit my blog, rubberredneck.typepad.com, to find out more details and to get that free project sheet. Today's project is called the Cheerful Tag M&M Wrapper. Now this is a cute and fun gift idea, perfect for friends, family, coworkers, and it's small enough that it'll fit in a stocking, too, for a stocking stuffer idea. It uses the stamp set called Cheerful Tag Stamp Set from our holiday catalog. Now to create this cute little wrapper, this is what it looks like on the front, and then here's the back, and it holds one of those fun-sized M&Ms. You want to cut one piece of cherry cobbler cardstock at 2 inches by 5 inches. Place it onto your Simply Scored scoring tool with the 5-inch length at the top. Then you want to score it at 4 1/4 and then at 4 1/2. Once you have that scored, then you need your angled tag topper punch. You're going to take your cardstock and you're going to slide that in there. Turn it over, make sure you have everything lined up at the top, and then punch your cardstock. So then once you have that punched, this is what your cherry cobbler cardstock will now look like. Then you want to take your bone folder and fold over on those scored lines and crease that down. So now you'll have your cherry cobbler cardstock will look like this. Then you want to cut one piece of cherry cobbler cardstock at 2 inches by 4 1/4. Take the stamp from Cheerful Tags, ink it in that white StazOn ink, and stamp all over the tag. Then you're going to take a sponge and sponge the edges of that tag. Let that ink dry. Once the ink is dry, then you want to take your glue and put some glue onto that cherry cobbler cardstock on that little flap. And what I do is, this is the way it looked. Turn it over, place this right onto that cherry cobbler cardstock, onto that, right up to that first scored line. Make sure the edges are even, and then press down. Give it a second to dry and adhere to each other. And then once it's dried, then you can fold it so it looks like this to make sure you have everything nice and flush. Then that becomes the front of the little tag decoration here. Then you want to cut one piece of pistachio pudding cardstock at 2 1/4 by 3 inches. Take the stamp from Cheerful Tags, ink it in garden green, and stamp all over the pistachio pudding cardstock. Sponge your edges with the white StazOn pad again, and then you're going to glue this so it sits in the center of that pistachio pudding cardstock. So you're just going to put some glue right on the back, and then place that in the center so it's just a little ways up from the bottom. So that's what it'll look like right there. Then you want to cut one piece of Whisper White cardstock, and you want to cut that at 1 1/2 inches by 3 inches. Zip it through the Big Shot with the Lucky Stars Textured Impressions embossing folder. Then you're going to glue your Whisper White cardstock to the pistachio pudding. And you want to glue it so it's towards the center more. Make sure you get it on there straight. Then cut one piece of the Trim the Tree Designer Series paper stack and that garden green and that diamond pattern. And you want to cut that at 1/2 inch by 3 1/4. Glue this to the bottom of the layers overlapping your Whisper White cardstock. Leave a little bit showing across the bottom. Then you want to cut one piece of cherry cobbler cardstock at 1/2 inch by 2 3/4. Take the stamp from Cheerful Tags, ink it in cherry cobbler, and stamp onto that cardstock. Then you're going to glue your cherry cobbler cardstock to the layers overlapping that Trim the Tree Designer Series paper stack. Then you want to cut one piece of pistachio pudding cardstock at 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. Die cut it out using the Big Shot and the circle framelits. Once you have that die cut out, take the stamps from Cheerful Tag, ink them in garden green and pistachio pudding, and stamp all over that little circle. Then sponge the edges with that white pad. Once you have that stamped on, then you're going to take a stamping dimensional, place that onto the back, and attach that to the layers here towards the right. Then you want to cut one piece of crisp cantaloupe cardstock at 1 1/2 by 2 1/4. Die cut that out using the Big Shot and the Chalk Talk framelits. Once you have that die cut out, take the stamp from Cheerful Tags, ink it in crisp cantaloupe, and stamp onto that cardstock. Sponge your edges again with that white pad. Then you're going to place a stamping dimensional onto the back and attach that over here onto the right of all these layers. And you want to make sure that cherry cobbler cardstock is showing over here on the right as well. Then you want to cut one piece of the champagne glimmer paper, and you want to cut that at 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. Once you have that cut, you're going to notch out one end. So just cut in the center and then go from the point to the center and from the point to the center again, notching that out. So then it'll look like that. And then just set that aside for a second. You want to cut one piece of Whisper White cardstock at 1 inch by 1 1/2. Take the stamp from Cheerful Tags, ink it in garden green and pistachio pudding, and stamp onto your Whisper White cardstock. Use a stamping sponge and sponge the edges of the Whisper White with the pistachio pudding cardstock. Once you have that part done, then you want to take that little champagne glimmer paper, put some glue on the end, and attach this up here at the top of that Whisper White cardstock. Then you want to cut 11 1/2 inches of the pistachio pudding thick baker's twine, and you'll need that M&M fun-sized packet, and this is what holds that packet in there. You're going to place this in between your tags of that cherry cobbler cardstock, so it looks like that. Then you want to take that thick baker's twine, and you're going to tie this around all the layers and just tie a knot. And you want to pull it snug, but not too snug that you rip your M&M wrapper there. So keep that in mind when you're tying that. Then you want to take that Whisper White cardstock that you cut and place a stamping dimensional onto the back of that. And then you're going to place that over here onto all your layers of paper and ribbon, placing that right on there. Then you want to cut 7 inches of the 1/2 inch Whisper White seam binding. Once you have that cut, you're going to thread that through the top of these two tags. And then you're just going to tie that closed. And then that will help keep your M&M from sliding out through the top. And once you have that tied, then you're going to take your paper snips and trim up your ends to make them look nice. And then to finish this off, you want to take a rhinestone basic jewel, and you want one of the larger ones. Place that in here on the tag, and that crisp cantaloupe die cut here. And then you want to take one of the neutrals candy dots, and you want to Whisper White, and you want to place that over onto that pistachio pudding circle. And then that completes the video for the Cheerful Tag M&M wrapper. Be sure to visit my blog, rubberredneck.typepad.com, for the free project sheet on this project. Thank you for watching.